David Roberts from Grist magazine. I just recently spoke with a representative from the biofuels industry who assured me that even though there's a lot of concern about how biofuels would impact our food stocks and raise food prices, even though there's already a food crisis, he said, let's keep the conversation going. So we don't want to have solutions that lead us down that kind of bad path. What reaction do you have to that?
Well, I think that's a bold response to the anti-conversation lobby. I mean, the question is what conversation to have. I mean, I don't think you're going to find anybody. It is to the biofuels industry, it is to their benefit to frame the conversation around let's all work together to improve biofuels. It's hard to argue with that. I wouldn't argue with that. I want to improve biofuels. If we can find biofuels that can scale without raising food prices, without increasing the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico from nitrogen fertilizers, without encouraging deforestation either directly like a soy and palm oil do, or indirectly just by shifting crops around so that it might not directly have to cut down forests to grow the fuel stock, but you shift one crop to another crop shifts somewhere else, and you end up cutting down forests anyway. So if biofuels can be made benign, I would celebrate along with anyone else. But the conversation we should be having is, does big agribusiness deserve multiple billions in subsidies to create this stuff that even they acknowledge is environmentally harmful because it's a bridge, allegedly, to the good thing in the future? Now, I work in, I work around energy, and I can tell you there are lots of people all over the world working on technologies that aren't quite there yet, but which might serve as a bridge to better technologies, and most of them are not getting multiple billions of dollars in government subsidies. So the conversation to have here is the massively distorting effects that trade barriers and subsidies for American farmers have on the welfare of developing world farmers, and the distorting effects they have on our own agricultural system in the U.S., and the barriers they put in front of local agriculture and organic agriculture. And the problem here is the corporate welfare. That's what they don't want to talk about. They want to talk about benign new biofuels that are perpetually 5 years out. I'll celebrate along with anybody else if those biofuels show up and scale up and are economically competitive, and if we put strong performance standards in that hold them to environmental standards, and performance standards around deforestation and performance standards around all these other things, and they can meet those standards, then yeah, that's great. More power to them. But in the meantime, I'd like to stop subsidizing them up the wazoo.
Are there certain biofuels that you're more comfortable with or less comfortable with? Do you see a certain place for biofuels in the larger energy mix?
Well, there are immensely promising things happening with cellulosic biofuels, with some feedstocks that can be grown on marginal land and that don't require a lot of water. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening around biotech, the sort of synthetic biofuels where you can tweak enzymes to create fuel, and there's interesting stuff happening around algae. It's all interesting, it's all wonderful, and most of it is in the labs. It hasn't scaled up. There's interesting stuff happening all over the place. Nobody, yay for R&D. I'm happy to dump tons of public money into R&D. If that's the conversation, nobody's going to disagree. What the conversation they don't want to have is about corporate welfare. So I think progressives should keep their eye on that ball. If they'll remove themselves from the public teat and compete alongside all other energy solutions, all of which are interesting, all of which exciting things are happening in, then I'll be a cheerleader alongside everyone else. But in the meantime, those billions keep getting reappropriated. So.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, Bill.